Tuesday. I hope that you are having a good day so far. I am here today to teach you language arts, and I'm going to start with reviewing your spelling. Remember that spelling is optional but highly encouraged. So Miss Garcia focused on syllables, which is great, and I hope that you have a great understanding of the syllables in these words. I'm going to focus on prefix plus base word plus suffix so that we're familiar with the syllables, but we're also familiar with base words. So each of these words have a prefix in the beginning. So on is a prefix, okay, because it's it's before the base word, okay. After the prefix, I have a base word. So the base word in unsuccessful is success. Okay, so this is the base word. And then I end with a suffix because it's at the end. So I have a prefix plus a base word plus a suffix is what I am talking about this week. So let's do another one. Immeasurable right here. So im is my prefix. Measurable or measure is my base. And able is my suffix. Okay? So if you had to write your words for homework, which you don't, but if you did, this is a really good set of words to do either by the prefix or by the suffix or how many syllables if you wanted. That's what you did with Miss Garcia. So just if you want to practice them that way, go ahead and do that. Okay, again, highly encourage you to learn your spellings. Let's do one more. We're going to do discoverable. So dis is my prefix. Cover is my base. And able is my suffix. Okay, and you can keep going. You can do those on all the words. Let's do maybe one more. Reappearance. Re is my prefix. Appear is my base. And okay, so you could do that for all of them. So those are your spelling words. Big words, but good words to know. These are great words that we would love to see in your writing. You're working on a day in the life of a slave. Maybe you can put one or two of these words in your writing when you go to work on your writing. Okay, so that's spelling. And so now we're going to go over vocab. So I'm going to erase the board and put up the vocab. Putting up the vocab. Okay, so instead of just reading these words to you and going over them that way, I'm going to have you open your language arts textbook to page 662, and we're going to read the vocab story and then talk about the vocab words. So, Pike's purposes. Zebulon Pike was an explorer who faced peril willingly. He led expeditions to two parts of the Louisiana Purchase. The first expedition in 1805 to 1806 was to find the source of the Mississippi River and establish American authority in the area. Pike and his group traveled nearly 5,000 miles over rugged terrain in dismal weather. Despite their efforts, they did not achieve their goals. Pike's second expedition in 1806 to 1807 was to explore the Arkansas and Red Rivers. Pike was also directed to enter Spanish territory and estimate troop numbers. In mid-November of 1806, Pike and his men found themselves in Colorado at the base of the Rockies. Pike gazed intently at a mountain he called Grand Peak. It was later named for him, Pike's Peak. The mountain winter was a terrible ordeal. It snowed profusely. Then in February, Pike and his men were captured by the Spanish and led into Mexico. While a captive, Pike observed Spanish troop movements. After he was set free, he reported his findings to his superiors. His information was an asset to American leaders. So, peril, we know, is like danger. So he found himself in great peril frequently, in danger frequently. Terrain is like mountains and rivers and the land, okay? And dismal is like sad weather, or not sad, but like bleak and depressing. So yeah, it is sad. On the bottom there's a picture. American leaders came to esteem Zebulon Pike's leadership abilities. They promoted him to general during the War of 1812. So esteem means like they looked up to him, they admired him. Okay. Then we have intently, like you stare intently at somebody, like you can't take your eyes off of it. Ordeal is like an experience. Profusely is like a lot. And asset was like something that is beneficial. So he was a benefit to American leaders. So Miss Garcia assigned page 153 for you on Monday. So I'm going to go give you the answers now. So make sure that you have this page out and that you have a red pen. So these are possible answers. So use what you know about the vocabulary words to answer the following questions. So these should be in complete sentences. So an asset is something that helps you. Okay, number 2, what action should be done intently? Driving a car or humming a tune. Driving a car should be done intently. Okay, number 3, would you thank someone profusely for picking up your pencil or for rescuing your dog? I would thank someone profusely for rescuing my dog. Number 4, which task would be an ordeal? Folding a napkin or moving a piano? Moving a piano would be an ordeal. Number 5, which is an example of terrain? A Rocky Mountain trail or a thunderstorm? A Rocky Mountain trail is an example of terrain. Number 6, would a dismal sight fill you with pleasure or make you feel sad? A dismal sight might make you feel sad. Number 7, should people avoid peril or should they seek it out? People should avoid peril. Number 8, if you esteem something, do you admire it or look down on it? If I esteem something, I admire it. Okay, so that page should be done, corrected, and you're done. Remember I said complete sentences just like they did. Okay, I don't want just 1-word answers or 2 words or 3 words. I want full sentences. So if you didn't do full sentences, better go back and do that. All right. Your focus skill is summarize and paraphrase. So summarize is to tell the most important information in 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, whereas paraphrase is retelling of the text in your own words without changing the meaning. So open up to page 661 in your book. So when you are reading a text, it is important to be able to summarize and paraphrase the ideas in it. When you summarize, you tell it in 1 or 2 sentences the most important information. When you paraphrase, you retell a text in your own words without changing its meaning. So I'm going to read on page 661 about Sacagawea. So Sacagawea traveled with Lewis and Clark on part of their journey to the Pacific Ocean. Thanks to the journals the explorers kept, we know that Sacagawea helped them in many ways. She pointed out landmarks, obtained horses, and found edible plants. But there are many things we don't know about her. Did her name mean bird woman or boat pusher? Did she die at the age of 25 or live to be 96? No one knows for certain. So to summarize that, I would, in 1 or 2 sentences, I would say what I just read. So we know much about Sacagawea because of the journals Lewis and Clark kept. However, some things about her are still unknown. Does that say everything that happened in that story? Yes. Does it say word for word? No. It takes a summary, or it takes, it gives a little explanation of what I read. Okay, think about the back of the books that you read. There's always a summary. Okay, it's not a paraphrase, it's a summary. Now, a paraphrase of that is going to be the same length of the story. So, I'm looking at page 661. Because of the journals kept by Lewis and Clark, we know that Sacagawea helped them during their journey to the Pacific Ocean. She pointed out landmarks, obtained horses, and found edible plants. However, the meaning of her name and how long she lived are mysteries. Did I tell you everything in that story? Yes. Did I just copy it word for word? No. I said it in my own words, but it's the same length as what I read. Okay? So again, the summary is only the main ideas of a passage and is shorter than the original text, whereas a paraphrase restates the entire text in different words and is about the same length of the text. Okay? Your homework assignment. Now, when it is a homework assignment, that's something that goes in the grade book, which means that you need to do it. So the homework page is 155, which is on summarizing and paraphrasing. For the story, you are reading about Lewis and Clark, which should be very familiar to you guys because we read about Lewis and Clark in our history book. So this story is a narrative nonfiction because it tells about people, things, events, and places that are real. So, okay, you talked about that already with Miss Garcia. Your assignment for me is to read it with someone and then give them a summary of what you read. So this is not just I'm going to read it to someone and then not do anything. I want you to summarize it so that you have main ideas. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. I'm sorry. Okay? So you are reading the story to someone, so not to yourself, but to somebody, and then summarize it after you read it. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is grammar. And grammar is, again, verbs. We've been spending a lot of time in verbs, haven't we? This is the last week we'll spend in verbs, so woohoo. We're going to talk about irregular verbs. So Miss Garcia did a really great job of explaining this already to you. I'm just going to review some examples, and then there's a practice book page that we want you to do, and then language arts for today will be done. So I'm going to put a page on the board, and I'm going to go over some examples. So, the thing that's different about these verbs is that I can't just add ed to make them past tense. They have their own version. And it's not as easy as, oh, I'm just going to add ed. I have to kind of remember that these are different. So for number 1, it says Lewis and Clark begin their journey. So I don't say beginned, okay? That doesn't make sense. So actually, this is, so Lewis and Clark began their journey, okay? So in the past tense, begin is began, okay? The party of explorers go very far. I'm not going to say goed. I'm going to say went, okay? They find a route to the west coast. Again, I'm not going to say they finded. Okay, I'm going to say they found. The Native Americans speak to the explorers. I'm not going to say speaked. I'm going to say spoke. Okay, and then this last one on the bottom, Lewis and Clark keep a journal of their travels. I'm not going to say keeped. I'm going to say kept. Okay. The best way to know if a verb is irregular is if you add ed and it doesn't sound right. So like when I said beginned, does that sound right? Not really. Okay, so then I want to think, what is the verb? Honestly, you guys, with the regular verbs like this, you just have to remember them. There's no rules or anything to help you. You just have to know that these verbs have their own form in past tense. Okay? And I'm going to do one more. I'm going to talk about present participle, past tense, and then past participle. Just to review really quickly. Okay, so this is the verb that I'm going to use. So it says infinitive, but we're just going to, those are the verbs. So, okay, if I'm doing the present participle, I'm going to have either is or was, and then I have ing. So is and ing. So then if I have bring, I'm going to make this bringing. So I can say, I was bringing dessert to the potluck. Would I say I is? Does that make sense? No. So I would use was here. Okay? I was throwing the ball to my teammate. Okay? Eating here. I was eating breakfast with my dad. Okay? Again, I is, me is, we is. Does that? No. Okay? To shake, so is, was. I'm going to say shaking. The house was shaking due to the earthquake. Taking. Okay. I was taking fruit to my neighbor. Okay, and then forgetting. I was forgetting to check the mail on my way home. Okay, so that's present participle. Again, you're going to use is or was and ing. Okay, is or was or ing. Okay, past tense, right? We know these, but is throw. Am I going to say throwed? No, I'm going to say threw. Okay, and then I have brought, and then eating. Am I going to say eated? No, I'm going to say ate. Okay, shook is the past tense of shake. Okay, and then I have take. Taked. No, I'm going to say took. Okay, forgetted. No, I'm going to say forgot. Okay, and now last I have past participle. So past participle, I have had, or has, or had, and I am going to either use en or the past tense. So for instance, thrown, I don't say has threw, I say has thrown. She has thrown the softball to her neighbor. Okay? For bring, I'm not going to say bringed. I'm going to say brought. So I'm using the past tense but with a helping verb. Okay? I have brought dinner to my dad. Okay? Here, ate, I'm going to say eaten. I had eaten breakfast before I came to work. Okay? Shaken, taken, and then forgot is forgotten. Okay? So either it's its own format, like brought, its own past tense format, or I add en. Okay? So here are the things that you need to remember to do. Vocab, study your vocab, of course. You are doing practice book page 55, and remember that that is a homework assignment that you need to do. You need to read the story and then summarize it with somebody that you're reading it with, and then do page 158 for grammar. Page 158 for grammar, and that's it. And as always, you can always look at IXL Language Arts to do any extra practice if you feel like you need it. But that's all I have for today. I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.